Hello guys and welcome back to the channel, and I'm going to do a bit of a weird one. It's not a weekly watches, it's not a monthly watches, it's a 3/4 of the month watches. We're on the 21st of July guys, and I just happen to have a spare little bit of time, and because I've been quite busy next week, I'm going to actually do what I watched in July now. Even though we're not quite at the end of July, I haven't been watching as many movies, so I'll get this banged out now and then I can do what I watched at the end of July at that time. So I make things convoluted and complicated when they really don't need to be. So let me get the old Letterboxd recorder on. Okay, so we kicked off July, and yes, that is correct. The first movie I watched in July was on the 6th of July. What a disgrace. It was Maxine. So I went to the cinema to see Maxine. I absolutely loved it. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I need to stop looking sideways when I'm doing these things. I know Maxine isn't everyone's cup of tea, but it ticked every box for me. The soundtrack was spot on. I love a bit of cheesy rock music. I love the whole satanic panic being included. We also had true crime with the case of Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, running concurrently through this film. So every single like tick, tick, tick. This movie is a movie that felt almost made for me. Absolutely love Maxine. Even though I will admit it's not the best movie in the trilogy, it's my favourite in the trilogy. I would say Pearl's the best movie, but enjoyment factor for me personally, I have to go with Maxine. I absolutely loved it. It was a 4.5 out of 5 for me. And Mia Goth, I mean, like kick-ass, feminine, horror like character that we've been crying out for ages. Love her. So on the 12th, now I've been hearing so much about this movie from so many different people in a violent nature. The eagle-eyed of you may notice that I gave this one a 2.5 out of 5. So this follows from a killer's perspective. It's very much obviously inspired by Friday the 13th. The difference with this movie is we follow the killer around. It's not from the point of view of the victims, are really almost like extras in this movie. The killer doesn't speak. This felt like a fan-made movie. Now the only thing, and that's not a bad thing because there are some Friday the 13th fan-made movies that are fantastic. I didn't like the fact that we had absolutely no sort of, we did have a bit of backstory on who the killer was, but I wanted a little bit more from him as a character. And as a lot of other people have discussed, there are sections where we're following him doing absolutely nothing but walk very slowly. And we're getting like really lengthy shots of trees and him walking and nothing is happening. So we're expanding a movie that probably would have been half hour shorter if it wasn't for all the extended, shots. What I will say about this movie is if you're a horror fan, the gore is exceptionally good in this. There is a kill in this that is really imaginative. You would just never have thought of it. And there is another particular kill that is very methodical, and you know exactly what's going to happen and what he's going to do, and you're like cringing at it. And rather than cut away, there's no cut away. It shows you absolutely everything. So from a gore hound perspective, from a horror fan perspective, the gore in this is exceptionally good. I really did enjoy those little segments. But the story just wasn't enough to elevate this beyond just a very basic, as I say, if you like gore, watch it for the gore, but don't expect any description of a good storyline because you will not find it in a violent nature. What have I done? I've come out. Let's go back in. Where are we? So Longlegs. This is quite a divisive one, isn't it? I did not expect it. So this is Nicolas Cage's new movie. It's no secret that I'm a massive Nicolas Cage fan. So is my review of this somewhat biased? Most probably. We do get a little bit of mad manic Nick Cage in this. I should also say I have got an individual review for Maxine and for Longlegs after I have just left the cinema. If you want to check those out, I will try to what I try to do is if I refer to something in a video, I try to put it at the end in the little title cards. I loved this. It was very, very atmospheric, very creepy. It was not frightening. People are saying it's this. No, that's not fair because what frightens people is completely different. For me personally, this was not a frightening movie. It was very atmospheric. It was very creepy. I loved the atmosphere and the air and the creep factor about it. Nicolas Cage was sublime, as I feel He is a lot of the time. I'm not going to say always is. I feel Nicolas Cage always gives his all, even in bad movies. He does his best, and he is fabulous in this. We don't get to see a lot of him, so don't expect this to be Nick Cage all the way through. But Micah Monroe is fabulous in this. She was the perfect actress for this role. She does a really, really good job. This has been compared to Silence of the Lambs and Seven. Please do not expect it to be as good as either of those movies, because it isn't. But it is novel. It is really creepy. It has got very good performances. It is a little bit off kilter, which I absolutely loved. It's this one mainly for me is about the atmosphere it provoked. It's about the sound design, which was first rate. It's about just how the movie makes you feel more than anything. That's what I love about this movie. I did expect it to go a completely different way. I expected it to be more of a detective movie, trying to find a murderer. I didn't expect the little otherworldly, well, not other, people are referring to it as a paranormal element. I did not expect that, and I probably would have preferred for it not to have that. I don't feel that added anything, and it left you with more questions than answers. But I still really enjoyed the movie. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Now, I think I did say in my, I don't give reviews on here, without Cage, it's a 3 out of 5. With him, sublime. So, I really, really did enjoy it. I think for the atmosphere, you really need to check that one out. Handling the Undead. Right, I've put loads of Zs, obviously. Oh, yes. Is this Norwegian? It probably won't tell me on here. There's no point me looking. I think it's Norwegian. This, so on a hot summer day in Oslo, the dead mysteriously awaken and 3 families are thrown into chaos when their deceased loved ones come back to them. Who are they and what do they want? Now that sounds kick-arse, doesn't it? It wasn't. It was a drama, a very slow-paced drama with absolutely nothing happening. There's no effects. We're not going to get like zombie-type people in this. It is a drama. I'm not entirely sure what it was trying to say because I was too bored to pay any attention. Again, I do say this because I don't want you to think it's just me. I watched this with my husband and he was struggling. He's like, what the fuck have you put on now? This is terrible. And he wasn't far wrong. This is not a good movie. It doesn't rate very highly on IMDb either, but I liked the concept, so I thought I'd check it out. I gave it a 1.5 out of 5. I really don't think it's worth your time at all. On the same evening, it wasn't a good evening, was it? I watched The Exorcism, which is, now I would say it's Russell Crowe's new movie, but this one was filmed before The Pope's Exorcist, which I wasn't particularly a fan of either. This is an exorcism movie. He is an actor playing, I believe, a priest. A troubled actor begins to unravel while shooting a supernatural horror film. This is okay. I give it a 2 out of 5. I don't think there's anything wrong with Russell Crowe's acting. I think he's a superb actor. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the effects on the movie, with how it looks. The cinematography is really strong. It's just, I just didn't care. I just was not interested. They didn't pull me into the characters. I didn't really care about the backstories. This is the issue. I didn't care. I'm like, I find myself sometimes starting movies and I'm like, ugh. But then it pulls me in, then something happens to like reel me and I'm engaged. And in this, that just never happened. What have I kicked? Right, I kicked a power pack. No, I didn't enjoy it. I find it really dull, not engaging, and to me, the worst thing you can do is just not care, and I did not care. So, I've done it again. This computer is reacting so slowly to what I'm doing, that's the problem. Wait Until Dark. So if you don't watch my individual reviews, I reviewed this one as part of my 12 movies from 12 friends to watch in 12 months. This is number 10 on that list of 12. It's a 1967 movie with Audrey Hepburn. She plays a blind lady who, I'll not go into all the detail. If you want to know a little bit more, look at my other review, but she sort of is playing this game of cat and mouse with 3 criminals because she's got something in her house that they want. And they are thinking she's all kinds of stupid and she can't see them, but blind people are very perceptive. They can hear things that we would miss. They can sense where people are. You know the thing, because we've had this sort of storyline lots. It wasn't for me. I gave it a 2.5 because I can sense that it's a well-made movie. I struggled with the overacting. I struggled with everything being like over-dramatic, and that pulled me out of it. And I've never been a big fan of Audrey Hepburn. I'm maybe going to get hate for that, but it wasn't for me. But it does rate very highly on IMDb. It rates a 7.7. Actually, 16 people on my friends list have seen it. There you go. I shall... Cinema Axeman, Leon hasn't left. Start. Look at that. That's solid 4s out of 5s all the way down. Apart from... Right, that's my friend sending me something that has got the F-U-C-K in it. That's a WhatsApp. Christ only knows what that is. I've got WhatsApp connected to my laptop, so apologies if you see something flashing up that you really shouldn't be seeing flash. I'm wondering what that is now. So yeah, you can see down there are mostly 4s and a 4.5. There's no one. Is it just me? It's just me. So take from that what you will, folks. Lisa has no taste. Furiosa and Mad Max Saga. Okay. This is one that the trailers for me looked absolutely fabulous. And I really, really like Anya Taylor-Joy. I think she's a fabulous actress. Chris Hemsworth, I'd heard a lot of people say he's the best thing about the movie. I am not a massive fan of this franchise. None of the movies got me overexcited. I didn't come away from them feeling that I'd seen something fabulous, purely because it's not my kind of movie. I'm not a fan of most... I like some action. I'm a big fan of like early Jean-Claude Van Damme stuff. And you're saying, Lisa, you don't know what you're talking about, they're crap. I love Kickboxer, I love Bloodsport, I love Best of the Best, I love all that stuff. But not so much modern day action movies. It's occasionally there's one I'll enjoy, but the Mad Max movies, just even the ones with Mel Gibson, just they were okay. They're just not for me. So I want to make that clear first. Just not my cup of tea. I thought her and Chris Hemsworth were both really good in it. I loved how it looked, but again, I didn't care. I didn't feel anything. I didn't, worry about were they going to achieve what they wanted to achieve. Are they going to beat the bad guy? I didn't care. The actual stunts in this were fantastic. I really enjoyed that aspect, and it was really kick-arse, which I enjoyed. I love seeing a kick-arse female, but it just didn't really do a lot for me. Again, not really my taste. Why do you watch movies that aren't really your taste, Lisa? Because sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I watch some... Example, Red Dead Redemption 2, the game. You're probably sick hearing me, but I thought that would be absolute shit. I played it and it is now my favourite game of all time. So you can be wrong completely. Next, the Asunta case. This is on Netflix at the moment. It's, I believe, a 6-part series. It is Spanish, I think. Is it Spanish or Italian? I think that's Spanish. So 2 parents have an adoptive daughter. She is 12 and she goes missing. I think this is based on a true story, and basically we're trying to get to the bottom of what has happened to this 12-year-old. Has she been abducted? Has she went of her own free will? Have the parents been involved? And in the background, we've got a lot of stuff running, concurrently with this. We've got the state of the husband and wife's marriage with other people involved. We've got little flashbacks to before the girl went missing. It's good, but it's too long. There's too much that we don't need. This could have been put into an hour and a half, 2-hour movie easily. As it is, there's 6 parts and they're between 45 and 55 minutes each. We do not need 5 hours of this or 6 hours of this. We just don't need it. It's too long and I struggle to maintain attention of having to keep going. It wasn't so good that I couldn't wait to get back to it, and it definitely wasn't so good I was going to binge the whole thing in one day. I would say if the subject matter interests you, check it out. It's got solid acting. It's an interesting story, but it's way, way too long. We've got 2 more. Stalker. This absolutely, what's the word? Disappoint's the wrong word. You know when you desperately, desperately want to like something and you just don't? Well, that's this. So this movie was recommended by a very intelligent young man by the name of Sam Glendinning, Sammy G's World of Movies. This is his favourite movie. Now, Sammy is just one of life's lovely people. He's very intelligent. He's very switched on. His musical and movie taste for someone so young blows my mind. When he said this was his favourite movie, I'm like, right, I need to get onto this. I need to see this. I have tried to watch this on a couple of occasions before and I just was not in the mood. This is a 1979 movie. It's Russian. It's very unusual. But the concept of it is absolutely, you know, I'm like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. So what have we got here? Near a grey and unnamed city is the Zone, a place guarded by barbed wire and soldiers, and where the normal laws of physics are victim to frequent anomalies. A stalker guides two men into the Zone, specifically to an area in which deep-seated desires are granted. Now, a stalker is not what we would know as a stalker. A stalker is a name given to a person that is able to lead other people past all these dangers in this like wasteland where they're not allowed to be, to get to this place where your deepest desires are meant to be granted. Now, you know when you finish a movie and you have to go look up what certain things meant because your mind's boggling? Now, I don't think I'm the smartest person in the world, neither do I think I'm the stupidest. I really, really struggled with so much of this and the concept of what it meant. And I did actually read other people's essays about it afterwards. And I'm like, yeah, that's really interesting, but how the hell did you get that from this? This movie had these three guys wandering about, the stalker and the two guys he was bringing. One was a writer and one was a scientist. And he was taking them to this place to have their innermost desires fulfilled. And it was just a lot of talking and a lot of walking and a lot of stomping and lying in puddles. There was a lot of scenes of people just lying on the ground in puddles, and I was like, why are you lying in a puddle? What's going on? Why is there water everywhere? What's going on? Apparently loads of people died after this because of something to do with waterborne pollution or so. I can't remember, but I read that they feel people died from the making of this movie because of the area they were in the water. But there's an awful lot of lying about in puddles in this. And I'm like, right, what am I supposed to be seeing? What is the symbolism? I'm not good with arty-farty, folks. I like you to just show me what you're going to show me and not try and dance about bushes about it. But I can see this is one thing that was very clear to me on watching this is how beautifully this is shot. Now, it is very bleak, but it is stunningly beautiful. The sepia tones in this, and they do switch from colour to sepia to black and white, all different shots in this. It's very arty, it's very well done, it's very beautiful to look at. The acting is spot on. This film is too smart for me. If you are into highbrow movies, if you enjoy something really if I could say it, never mind not do it. If you like something really thought-provoking, definitely check this out. I think it was quite long as well. I think it was like 2 hours 45 or 2.5 hours. But there was so much symbolism. Now, apparently the director says he doesn't like symbolism and he doesn't believe in using symbolism, and I feel that that's pretty much what this movie was, start to finish. But on having read other people's accounts of it afterwards, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's pretty clever. I like that. I like the message. But would I have got a lot of that myself from the movie? Not in a million years. My husband didn't like it at all. He was worse than me. I said, what am I going to say in this review about this film? And he says, just say it was people lying about in puddles talking shite for 2.5 hours. Well, that's his viewpoint of it. But, so I'm going to put a timestamp in here now. I'm going to tell you what the movie leaves you with, in that what I took from the movie, what it left me with. So if you've seen it, fine. If you don't want to see it, fine. If you do want to see it, skip to this time. The basic concept I came away from this movie was that subconsciously you're not even aware of your innermost desires. What you say outwardly is your innermost desire, perhaps is not actually what your innermost desire is. And when these men step into this room to have their innermost desire fulfilled, one man, basically his brother has died. One man goes in saying, I want my brother to come back. But his innermost desire in reality was to be rich. So this guy's brother wasn't brought back, but he became insanely rich. And from this, things went down. I'll not give you complete spoilers, but things went downhill for him, which other people could not understand. So I think the concept was meant to be, if you fundamentally at the heart of yourself are not a good person, and if you go into that room and your innermost desire is fulfilled, that innermost desire may not be a good thing. Because even though outwardly you're projecting yourself as a different person, or you may say, I want to win the lottery. You may say, I want to cure world hunger. I want to heal this person that's ill. I want to bring this person back from the dead, or whatever. They may actually, your innermost desire may be a much darker thing that is only in your subconscious, that even your, everyday brain is not properly aware of. Does that make sense? So you can't just go in and say, I want this. It will fulfill your innermost, probably subconscious desire, and that may not be a good thing. So that is what I took from the movie. There's a lot more symbolism going on than that, but I like the idea. I like the concept. It's really interesting, and it does definitely open up conversation. But it's too smart for me. I just got to say it. It's way too smart for my little brain. So apologies, Sam. I can see why you love it. It's a beautifully shot movie, but I'm just not clever enough. And finally, Twisters. I have done an individual review for this one. This is one I went to see with my husband when my son and his friends went to see Despicable Me 4. I liked the effects, I liked the acting, I thought the story was absolutely abysmal, unbelievable. And I don't just mean small things that wouldn't have happened. I mean, we're in a bloody hurricane and people's cowboy hats aren't blowing off their head, but buildings are disintegrating. No, I liked some of the, the visuals on display looked amazing, and it is one of those dumb fun movies, you just go in and enjoy the spectacle. I would say I watched Dan, the Upside Dan's review. Now, he goes to see loads of movies in 4DX, which I have never experienced. There's only one of them even remotely close to me, which is in Belfast, which is like 45 miles away. It's so expensive, it's like 40 quid a ticket or something, which probably be about $50 in America. And if obviously I can't go on my own because my husband and son would never forgive me. So I am not comfortable with paying like over £100 to go see a movie in 4DX, which is ridiculous. But he did a review about his experience of watching Twisters in 4DX, and it sounds amazing. If you don't know what 4DX is, where the seat's moving about and you've got like water, you've got air, you've got scent, when things are happening on the screen, like you're going side to side and back and front, and you're being like shocked about and jostled and all this, and it sounds absolutely amazing, and I would love to see a movie in that format. But other than that, it's like a meh for me. I gave it a 3 out of 5 purely because I don't think it's a bad movie. I think visually it's spot on. The acting, what they were given to work with, they did well, although I will agree with someone else, and I don't remember who it was, it might have been Mike from Did You See That, said the romance was shoehorned in there, or it could have been Ryan. It just felt, the romance didn't feel like it was needed. It felt forced, and I would have rather had more other, like someone that had their house destroyed, and more backstory, more emotion put in there, made you feel something about a family that had lost everything, rather than just gloss over it and have it as a background thing happening. I didn't care whether these two got together. It just, although Glenn Powell's easy on the eyeball, it has to be said. But yeah, meh for Twisters for me. Right, let's switch that bloody thing off. I've talked long enough here, way longer than I meant to. This was meant to be a quick run over what I've seen. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I shall catch up with you on the next video. I'm going to do another film lithography for you, and I will be putting out a request for you to recommend me some movies for another 12 movies from 12 friends over 12 months. Thanks for watching, guys. Over and out from Lisa Loves.